everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Moran and this is the place where I share my CrochetObjet knitting journey mostly, mixed with basically everything that brings me joy and hopefully will bring you some joy as well. I'm coming to you from Israel, from my studio in Ramat Gan. Today is Thursday, September 7th, still pretty hot. Actually, we are in the middle of yet another heat wave here in Israel, but the Jewish holidays are just around the corner, and usually this is the time where we can expect some changes in the weather. So yeah, I am totally ready to say bye-bye to the summer. I'm not a summer person, I'm a winter lover. I love winter, I love rainy days and cozy days, and so I'm very excited and looking forward for the weather to change, and I hope it will happen sometime soon. So what do we have for today's episode? Yeah, I have some footage, short videos that I took for you to share from our weekly knitting groups. I have a short and sweet Etsy update. I will try to answer questions I get in my Etsy shop, in Etsy conversations. And yeah, I have 2 works in progress here to share with you and 2 new customs. So I think we can start. So first let's start with the Etsy update and clear this out of the table. So at the moment I have only patterns available in my Etsy shop, and I've been asked a lot regarding the cotton blanket kits. So unfortunately there are a few of the granny kit cotton colors. A few colors in this collection are out of stock at the moment, and therefore I am not able to offer the cotton kits to make my blankets. And I know many of you purchased the blankets patterns and you ask for the yarn. So hopefully somewhere during October I will have those colors back in stock and I will be able to offer these kits again. I think I will open a pre-order soon in the next few weeks. Once I know when these colors are back in stock, I will open a pre-order. So if you want, you can make sure you get a kit purchased, and while the colors are back in stock, the kit will be sent to you, and this will be more or less during October. As you know, if you are not new here, you already know CrochetObjet knitting is a small business and I am willing to keep it that way, and therefore I only keep limited quantities of the granny kit cotton kits. So I think a pre-order can be a good option for you to grab your kit, make sure you have it, and it will be sent to you once it's here in the stock again. I will be offer kits for the Kiss blanket and for the Love Garden blanket and for the Stripes and Colors blanket. These 3 are the best sellers in my Etsy shop, and I am planning to offer these 3 kits in this pre-order. So yeah, this is regarding the update in regarding the Etsy shop, and I hope I answered your questions. Yeah, so we clear this out of the table and we are ready to move on and take a look at some footage I took for you on our weekly meetings. So this week I had the Mondays Club meeting for the first time after we were back from our family vacation. Yeah, and we were very excited to meet again. We really missed each other. It was a very chatty and busy Monday Club meeting. And then on Tuesday evening I hosted the Knit Night Club, and yeah, I try to juggle between, going around the table, assist the knitters and crocheters in all the different projects they are busy with. And these two clubs are very, very chatty, and I always want to take more pictures and to take more like short videos to share, but it's not very easy for me to juggle all the things together. So a lot of the beautiful projects are not, I couldn't record them, but maybe next week I will be better. So yeah, we had lovely meetings, knitting, 2 knitting groups here this week. And now let's see what's going on my needles and in my project bags. But let's first take a sip of coffee. I'm having a cold brew, new love. It's a new love to me. I wasn't so used to cold coffee before. Don't really like it, but this summer my daughter Maya, she's 22 years old, she made me fell in love with all of these white hair on the black shirt. Not a good idea. Anyway, Maya made me fell in love. It's her fault. I fell in love with cold brew this summer, so I'm preparing myself every day my second cup of coffee. I drink usually 2 cups of coffee, and the second cup is a cold brew. Yeah, and it's delish. So I have 2 works in progress to share with you today, and I think we can start with the first one. Is going to be a crochet one. So my first work in progress is a crochet granny square project. I think you know what I'm talking about, and it lives in my Nina bag. This pattern is available in my Etsy shop. I made my Nina bag originally made from Tibetan cloud yarn by Mayak Fibers, 3 strands held together, but all of the knitters, crocheters here in our weekly groups made this using other yarns, and a lot of them made it from using raffia, and yeah, it's one of the best-selling patterns in my Etsy shop, and you can take a look at the reviews and see what yarns crocheters used for making the Nina bag pattern. So you don't have to use only the yarn that I used. It's a really basic kind of bag pattern that you can play with and get creative and use a yarn you have in your stash. Anyway, the Nina bag is a home for an granny square blanket that I'm working on. I think you know what I'm talking about. I crochet solid squares. Let me show you one. I crochet solid squares following my tutorial here on YouTube, solid square tutorial, and actually I think I have one in the work. Yeah, here it is. This is going to be endless today. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, I have here one on the go, so you can see. I follow the solid square tutorial that I have here on YouTube, and I make a 5 rounds of solid square pattern, of solid square like construction, or how do you say, like not diagram, but solid square method. Okay, yeah, for 5 rounds. And then on the 6th round I make a solid square method. I crochet the solid square method, but in the corners I make two 5DC popcorn stitch with 3 chain stitches between them for the corner. What you see here is that I have just started the 6th round with the popcorn stitches in the corner, and then when I complete the 6th round, I will make the 7th round returning to follow the solid square method. So I hope I made it clear. This square is made out of 7 rounds, and it's a solid square. In the 6th round you have these popcorn in the corners. Okay, yeah. This week I think I managed to crochet quite a few. You can see which are the last ones that I made, and these are the ones that I haven't closed yet. So on the 7th round, at the end of the round, instead of closing it with a slip stitch, I don't usually close the round using the slip stitch, you know, to the 3rd chain of the first chain 4 or the first chain 3, because I like to close my squares using the invisible join method. I think I also have a video tutorial for this method here on my YouTube channel. Anyway, I don't like to use the slip stitch. I like to use the invisible join method because it creates a seamless edge and it makes my life easier while coming to the joining section. And I plan to join these squares using the front slip stitch method, which I also have tutorials for here on my YouTube channel. So yeah, what else? Yeah, the yarn I'm using for this project is the Knitting for Olive merino. I'm using color Soft Rose. And I use a 3mm crochet hook. Each ball is 50 grams with 250 meters. Each ball makes 8 of those 7 rounds squares. Yeah, and this week I think I almost finished one ball. So this is what was left. I guess I made, like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, and I will be making one more square out of this ball, and then I have only one left. And this week I spread the squares on the bed because I plan to make this blanket as a summer throw for our bed. And so I spread all the squares I had finished on our bed to take a look at the size and try planning what size I'm going to make it. So I think I am going to go on the 10 squares, maybe on 8, or maybe on 9, 10 by 9 or 10 by 8 squares. So now I can, make the calculation of how many balls I need. I know each ball gives me, I can make 8 squares from each ball, so I can make the calculations of the yarn and to get more yarn and be ready to finish. So I have it all here and I can, crochet with no rush, but knowing that I have all the yarn that I need. I will continue making squares, but I'm thinking there's a chance that I will, in one point or another, will try to start joining the squares and see how the front slip stitch method works here. To be honest, I'm very excited about this detail, and this is what I originally planned, and I'm very excited to see like how it looks. You know, I'm not sure if I can, you know, maybe show it to you, but I'm very excited to see this meeting point between all the squares, and I'm very like curious to see how will it come out when 4 squares are joined and you have 4 of these popcorn bubbles working together. So I think this is the detail of this plain and simple granny square blanket is going to be. So yeah, I might, you know, I will crochet more and more squares, but in one point or another I think I will start to join and just to see how it looks. Yeah, I will of course share it with you here. Yeah, there is no rush, I have no timetable for this, and I just enjoy making it. Usually I pick up, you know, my crochet hook and make like 1 or 2 squares. It's a very easygoing project and you don't have to think a lot, and I really like working on it. So yeah, this was the first work in progress that I wanted to share with you today. The second one is another blanket project, and if you follow me on Instagram and Facebook, you probably know what I'm going to share. So next is the coziest memory blanket, lives in this Marimekko bag I purchased a few years ago in Marimekko shop in Osaka. I really love this bag, and I love using it as a project bag, although I love from time to time I like to take it out and about without you know, not as a knitting bag, but recently it's the home for this blanket, and to be honest, it will not take longer until this bag will not fit this blanket anymore, but I just can't resist using it. I love the combination between these two creatures, I guess, and it's very comfortable for me that there is a, you know, an outside pocket here where I can stuck my needles, and a crochet hook for, you know, if I lose a stitch or something, a pair of scissors, and always any kind of hand cream. I really like the Weleda Skin Food. In the summer I use the Skin Food Light, but in this bag I have this one, and now I have like the row 1 paper bag here, and a few yarn labels, and yeah, and a row 1 like fabric bag. Anyway, it's starting to get bigger, but I insist to keep it in this bag. Yeah, it still lives here. So, to be honest, I can speak hours about my coziest memory blanket. The coziest memory blanket is a free pattern on Ravelry by a designer, Kemper Ray. And yeah, it took me a while till I started it up, but I am so happy I started. And when we went to our family vacation, I knew it's not a project to travel with, and I knew it will have to stay home. And it was I was very sad to get separated from her. But ever since we came back home, I added quite a few squares to it, and also I had, I think I told you in the last episodes that I made a subscription to row 1. It's a monthly subscription where you get um, packs of, let me show you, like mini, I think 10 grams. I'll show you a sample. Yeah, you get, I think, 10 of small balls of 10 grams each. Each month they send hand-dyed yarns, beautiful hand-dyed yarns, from another dyer, from a different dyer. So you get to know new dyers, and yeah, I have to say not all of the colors that are coming every month are going to be in my blanket, because I'm trying to get more involved in the color combination, and I'm not just picking any color, but I'm trying to choose the colors and to be mindful about the colorway. Although I have to say, she is getting her like personality, and now I'm at the point that I feel like it's more what she choose for me to put, and I am really totally, completely in love. We are a great couple. Yeah, I can sit and work on it for hours. I enjoy the simple, the simple garter stitch, and the color work. I enjoy everything about it. So for this blanket, I'm using only sock wool, so fingering sock wool with some nylon in the combination, and it's a 4-ply fingering 4-ply sock wool. I use, I think they call signature needles, signature art needles maybe. I'm not sure if they are available anymore. Anyway, when I purchased them, you could pick, like, they are single pointed, so you could pick what shape you want it to have at the end of one point. So I chose like the bell shape. You had, I think, 3 options, and I work with a stiletto tip, which is the sharpest, and I use 2.5 millimeter for my blanket. And yeah, I made a few changes for the pattern, which I think a lot of knitters are knitting in the same way. First of all, I make 40 stitches for each of my squares instead of 46. The pattern is written for 46 squares for a little bit larger squares. So a few of the knitters here are following the 46 stitches as in the pattern. I chose to make my squares with only 40 stitches. So this is more or less the size that I get. And what else did I change? I knit the first stitch in each round into the back loop, through the back loop of the stitch, and the last stitch I slip purlwise with the yarn held in front. So these are the changes that I made, and why I do that, I do it because it makes my life easier while I come to to pick up for the next square. So you make a square and then you pick up and make the other square, and for the first row you make it a little bit different than in the next rows. But skipping the last stitch, like knitting the first stitch through the back loop and slipping the last stitch with the yarn held in front, creates like a very defined stitches. Let me show you. It creates a very defined line of stitches that it's very easy to pick up from when you come to the point when you have to pick up for your next square. So you see, I hope you can see it through the camera. Yeah. So, and then it also creates a beautiful line of joining at the back side of the blanket. And it looks good. It looks good on the back side as well. And I'm pretty in love. And last Saturday I was busy weaving in the ends. This line is very, very good for you to use when you want to weave in the ends. So it's a good place to hide your ends. And yeah, this is it. At first, when I started to work on it, I was thinking a lot about the color combination and how will I make it like Moran, or I was a little bit nervous about this scrappy project, and I was a little bit nervous about how will it come up, because I'm using, leftovers from other projects, stock yarns, and I'm using the row 1 subscription, but I wanted it to look I wanted it to look more created with, how do you say it? I wanted it to be made with my handwriting, if you know what I mean, with my colorway handwriting. So when I started to work, I worked like in this way. I don't know how to say the right words in English, but I worked to this direction and this direction and this direction at the same time. And usually I think the normal way to work this blanket is in rows. So you make the first row, and then you make all the squares up in the second row. So at first I started to work in all directions, but now I'm in the mood of working the first row, completing the first row, and then completing the next one, and then the next one. And for now, this is the way I work. It might change. I know myself. It can change. Tomorrow it can be in a different way. But as for now, this is the way I work it. And I think after making the first row, I think my blanket is going to be 24 squares by 20. I think this is the size that I am going for. I think I have now 22 squares in the first row. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 22 squares in the first row. So I have 2 more to add over here, and then I am done with the first row. Anyway, more and more knitters in my weekly groups are joining this fun, and it makes my heart sing. I am so excited to have more and more knitters in my circles knitting together, and we make yarn swap. We give and take yarns so we can get more and more shades into our blankets. And yeah, it's a true joy to work on this blanket. I don't have any plans, and I don't see when I finish it. I just enjoy the making, enjoy the process. Really purely a process knitting for me, and I really enjoy every moment of making it. Yeah, we have a lot of conversations here about this blanket, because it's a community kind of project. You want to have more people in this making with you, and for me it's like, I don't know, I felt like it's a visit in a big city, in a big new city, and you have all kinds of neighborhood in this city. And this week I added this neighborhood, which is, these colors, and the playfulness of the colors over here, and the playfulness of the colors over here. It's like, different neighborhoods in the same in the same city. I don't know. This is what I felt. Yeah. So this is it for this knitted blanket project. Yeah. And usually it sits under the couch in the living room, and I grab it whenever I can, and add a square or two. And I think it was a Tuesday morning. I think on Tuesday I knitted for like 6 or 7 hours in a row. Not very healthy for your wrists, but I just couldn't help it. I had too much of excitement inside my body, and I needed to work on all my projects. So let me show you what else I was working on. Yeah, we have 2 new cast-ons. So let's put this aside. And yeah, and this blanket, not like with the granny square blanket that I know I have the color and the crochet hook. In this blanket, I usually spread it on the carpet in the living room and think about the next colors. So about the next colors layout. So I like prepare ahead 3 or 4 colors that I know where I'm going to add them, and then I have them, like inside of these plastic bags, and I have them up here, and I know I can grab them and start knitting. So this is the way I work it. And the new cast-on. Let's see what's this new cast-on. And this lives in my the Wool Barn project bag. It's a small one, and it usually fits a sock project. I have it for years. I'm not sure if it's available, if Maya from the Wool Barn makes them now, but I have it for years, and I really, really like it. It's light and it's flexible, and I can tuck it inside the bag and go out and take this project out with me. So this week I cast on a new pair. Oh, I dropped a stitch. This week, oh my goodness, so many stitches. Let's see. Let's put them into place before I lose them. Yeah, so this week I cast on a new pair of socks for my cousin. So last episode I told you I made a pair of socks for my cousin who lives in Berlin, and when we came to Berlin we met him for kind of lunch or something. We spent quite a long time with him, enjoying our time together, and I gave him the socks, and I saw how excited he was, and I said, okay, I will be very happy to knit more socks for him. So I took one of the sock wool that I purchased during our family vacation, and to be honest, I am not sure where this yarn is from. I'm not sure if this one was one of those that I purchased in the supermarket, or might be that this was a wool I purchased in a shop. I don't know how to say in English, but it's a shop for cosmetics and liquids for cleaning kind of shop. I don't know how you call it, but if I'm not mistaken, it's a DM in Berlin. I think it was there, but I'm not totally sure. And this is a printed, like, industrial printed yarn. Let's see which yarn is it. I divided the ball to 2 because this is how I like to knit socks, I like to work on 2 socks together, so not 2 at a time on the same needle, but I like to work parallelly. So this wool, it's a Shechemeyer for, I don't know how you call it, Shechemeyer sock wool. It's 75% wool and 25% polyamide. Color, it's a 100 gram and 420 meters or 459 yards. I'm not sure what the name of the color 00188, 188 I guess. So yeah, I divided the wool into 2 balls, 50 grams each. For the cuffs, I used Aweta by Filcolana that I had here in my studio, in this dark green or dark olive, I don't know how you call it, in this dark green, and I knitted the cuff using this dark green, and then for the sock, for the leg, I use this color. So I cast on 68 stitches for him on a 2.25 millimeter needle, 9-inch circular needle by Chiagu. This is my go-to method on socks knitting. I like to work also on Magic Loop, but I like the 9-inch. It's more like, I think, more portable. You can easily carry it, take it with you, and yeah. So 68 stitches on 2.25 millimeter 9-inch circular. What else? Yeah, I knitted 20 rounds for the cuff, 2x2 rib, knit 2, purl 2, and basically I follow my chestnut sock pattern, which is also a pattern available in my Etsy shop. And after knitting the leg section, I will decide if I like to take it inside out, as in the chestnut pattern, because I'm not sure if this yarn, if I will like the garter bumps better than the stockinette stitches. I will have to decide. Anyway, this is how it looks when you take it inside out, like in the chestnut sock pattern. Anyway, for the moment I follow the chestnut sock pattern. So yeah, and once again, I'm not in a rush. Yeah, the Jewish holidays are coming, so he might come to visit the family, or maybe my aunt and uncle will go to visit him. I'm not sure, but anyway, they will be arriving to the destination when they are ready. And yeah, last cast on, the next cast on. I think it was yesterday or the day before, I cast on the raglan I was telling about on the last episode. So I'm not sure if you remember, I was wearing this raglan that I made for myself 4 years ago, and it's a I don't know how you call it. I know you have a name in English to say when you improvise a pattern, like you make it out and you don't follow a written pattern. Anyway, I made this pattern this way. I made it to fit my size. It's a simple and basic top-down raglan, and recently I find myself reach out for it again and again, and I can wear it a day after day and enjoy it. for every day, and I also wear it for, you know, like special occasions. So it's quite a while that I'm thinking to cast on a new one, and still I want it again in black because I know I will use it a lot. So I cast on a new one using a yarn I have in stash for quite a while. For the moment, it lives in my Fringe bag, Fringe Supply bag, and I'm using a yarn I have in stash for quite a while. This is called Lotus Yarns Autumn Wind Lotus yarn, and it's a 90% cotton and with 10% cashmere, 50 grams per ball and 160 meters. 50 grams, 160 meters, and I have quite a few, like, oops, okay. I think I had 10 of them, so one is in use, one just fell somewhere here on the floor, and I have, I think, 8 here. And I think I ordered it from Amazon, and if I'm not mistaken, I have them linked in my Amazon storefront, which is linked down below in the description box if you like. So I think I cast on 66 stitches using a 3.25 millimeter needles. I started working flat and shape the back, and every time I finished a row, I didn't cast on, but I make, you know, knit front back at the end of a knit row and purl front back at the end of a purl row until I was done with the back shaping, and then I cast on, I think, 20 more stitches for the front and close to knitting the round, and now I'm happily knitting my way in the round, increasing in the raglan. It's a black it's a black creature, and I don't know how will my camera handle it. Anyway, I'm in the raglan increases section, and I'm very happy. It's a joyful making. I enjoy making it. I just started. I think I wanted to mention another thing about it. What was it? Yeah, I like it to be, you know, very close in the neck. This is what I want it to be. So, and I have I have a note with all the details about how I made my original raglan. So I'm following it, but I am changing it a little bit because I want it a little bit smaller and even more close in the neckline, even more than this one. So I hope I will manage to get the result I want. But anyway, I'm easy on frogging projects. So if it's not coming out as I want it, I will frog and knit it again. This time I am writing each and every step I make. So if one of the knitters here will want to make it, or if one of you ask for it, I will be ready with a little bit of, you know, a written note for you. So I write down each and every step, like exactly what I do. So yeah, this is for this, and I think this is everything I wanted to share with you today. Yeah, we have quite, you know, different kind of plans for the weekend, and I hope they will be leaving us with some relaxing time and, you know, slow and easy time in the weekend, which we enjoy the most, but we have friends for, I think, for brunch on Saturday. So it means, anyway, I bake sourdough every weekend, but this weekend we will make a little bit more for brunch to meet with friends. And then next week, at the end of next week, is Rosh Hashanah. It's the Jewish New Year evening, and we usually have, a festive dinner, very special dinner. So there will be, I guess, a little bit of preparations also for this. So I'm not sure when will be the next time that I will be able to record. If I have the time to come here and share a little update with my works in progress, I will be more than happy to do that, even if it will be for a short episode. But I cannot promise. I don't know if I will have the time next week. Anyway, after Rosh Hashanah, Eyal and myself are going to be traveling to Poland with Eyal's mother, with my mother-in-law, and with Eyal's brother and his wife. So with my brother and sister-in-law. Eyal's mom is originally from Poland, and she is now, I think, 82, and she 82 or 81, and she really wants to go back to Poland for quite a while. She wanted it before the COVID, and then COVID came, and then we tried to book another one after COVID, more or less after the COVID period, like after the COVID, the high peak. And then we tried to book again, and then the war in Ukraine started, and we were very afraid to travel to Poland. Anyway, we are now going to be spending about a week with her in Poland. We will travel, I think, to the lake area, and we will be visiting a few cities, and we'll end in Warsaw. Eyal's mom, her name is Malka. She was born in Poland, and I think she lived there until she was 15th. During the war, they were forced to move to Siberia, but she survived World War II. Thankfully, she and her parents and her sister. And when she was 15th, she came to Israel. She made Aliyah to Israel with her class friends. And I can understand her, but she always wants to go back to Poland. She feels, strong feelings, and she wants to visit there again and again. So we finally could book a date that fits all of us, and we will be traveling with her to Poland. Eyal and myself will, after we finish the trip with his family, we will be going to be traveling to Copenhagen for about 5 more days. So we found a very good flight from Warsaw to Copenhagen, and we will be staying there for 5 days. So I guess I will be sharing those visits with you, and I will be trying to share a few, special moments, and maybe visit yarn shops. I'll see. In Copenhagen, I plan to visit yarn shops. I'm not sure what will be available for me in terms of, traveling in a group, and I'm not sure if I will manage to go to any wool shops in Poland. Anyway, I did a little research about wool shops in Copenhagen. It looks good, and I hope we will visit at least 1 or 2 shops. And now that I know how many balls I need to finish my granny square blanket that made with knitting for olive wool, I will be, I hope I will be able to go visit there and purchase it myself in person. I am very excited to visit this shop. I love following this account. I love on Instagram. I love Knitting for Olive and everything they do. So I'm very, very excited for this visit and keep my finger crossed we will make it and I will be able to visit them. So yeah, I think this is it for today. And once again, it's much, much longer than what I planned. When will I learn to speak shorter? I don't know. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode, and I'll see you on the next one. Not sure when, but we shall see. And till then, happy making. Bye bye. Bye everyone.